Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. It is amazing how much things can grow in the garden when you have some constant warm weather. I filmed this over 4 days, and just every time I'd pop up to pick something or to check on ripening cucumbers or tomatoes, and of course watering the garden, I would just film a little bit of a catch up and just show how much things grow in a matter of a day, like this Japanese climbing cucumber. Over the 4 days, we had 2 really hot days, this one being one of them. And then we had a dramatic drop in the temperature, dropping down to something like 20 degrees. We then got some rain because our weather was so hot and humid during that time. And then we had a couple of days of 21 degrees, which was a lovely reprieve. But now we're back into the warmer weather, and I think the garden has enjoyed those couple of cooler days as well. Our 10-day forecast is looking a little more settled, between mid-20s to 30 degrees, which really should make this garden move along fast. Even though I've seen a lot of growth over that intense heat, it managed to wake up the pumpkins and the zucchini and the squash and the cucumbers most of all. It hasn't hurried the ripening of the tomatoes, but that is probably good because they can scald quite easily, and even though I'd taken a lot of leaves off, I'm very happy that they didn't get scalded. The heat also encouraged the melons to get moving, and there has been a lot of growth on the watermelons and the rock melons. I am loving my sea salt tank, and it's so quick and easy to use. Just when I pop up to the veggie garden, I can quickly put out a watering can full of sea salt on capsicums or the watermelons, anything that needs a quick drink and hydrate during the hot weather. On this day, the bees were really working hard. They were laden with pollen and loving life to the fullest, I think. This little one in here, I'm hoping he didn't have too far to fly because he could barely go in a straight line. The tender green beans are now starting to put on little beans, and these Munchaburplus cucumber, after growing them in a pot last summer, and they were quite timid growers, I thought it would be quite safe to have multiple plants in each tomato cage. That has proven to be quite different in the garden, and I am losing the battle of containing them. I sort of thought that they would be okay, but they're reaching over for the wire and wrestling the watermelon and the tomatoes. So I think if I just let them go, I'm going to have a lot of growth up this wire on this side also. There's a lot of growth on these tomatoes, and I'm leaving the leaves on this side, and this garden bed is looking a lot fuller than it did before. The melons on the inside of the wire still have to get growing, but they are not huge vines from what I've read about the two varieties I have growing. I came up to put the water on for the birds, and Mr. Magpie was already here waiting for the sprinkler to go on. We were doing a bit of a dance around the garden. He and Hunter do not like me putting the sprinkler up on this little bin. They prefer it down on the ground where they can get to it easily. But he was visiting on his own, no wife and no kids with him, so he was having a lovely time. Now, I had come up to also pick a cucumber for brunch, and I think this one looks absolutely perfect. It's been laying on the wire bar, which is why it has a bit of a funny shape, and that will certainly not change the flavor. And I was happy to see the bees here working hard on the cucumber flowers. These ones aren't far off being picked, but then out of nowhere, 8 p.m. at night, and the temperature dramatically dropped and we got rain, which was such a wonderful thing. It certainly wasn't enough to water the garden, but it was enough to wash the dust off the leaves and keep that temperature cooler. This is the next day. It was much cooler, only 21 degrees, but these cucumbers have pushed on and I think they look about perfect. I'd only just got home from work and my daughter said, I think the cucumbers need picking. So we went up and picked off all of the larger ones, and this one to me looks like a J in bubble writing. I am hoping to have a fair few cucumbers because I really want to ferment some. And of course, Hunter is here because we mentioned cucumbers. This Japanese climbing cucumber is quite amazing. The growth is so structural and there really isn't too much work you have to do to encourage it up the wire, which I absolutely love. And Hunter is a fan, so what else can I say? It is the next day and I've come out to check on my Brussels sprouts, and these ones are looking not too bad. It's quite warm. I think it's about 30 degrees, and these seeds are germinating at quite a fast pace, especially these ones, the red Brussels sprouts. This second sowing were all done on the same night, within an hour of each other, but it's amazing how much faster the red ones have germinated compared to the green. I am using that basket to cover over them so we don't have problems with the cabbage whites, but I will have to work out something else as they grow bigger. This is the thing, this long haul of growing Brussels sprouts from seeds. You have to have them safe away from the cabbage whites, and plus anything else in the brassica family that you decide to sow seeds for. So I'm going to have to look into making something to keep them all safe once I get them potted up, especially into singular pots. But for now, this basket does the trick. These beetroots that I'm growing for the leaves are looking much happier in singular pots. And I'm returning some of the baskets back up to the top because they all end up going down to the veranda and not returning. But look at what the birds have done. This I think I really need to do something about. With these warmer days, I do not want the mulch pulled down this far away from the plant bases. And I've also had the parrots in snacking on green tomatoes. All these tomatoes here on the trellises that I trimmed the leaves off, hoping to ripen them faster, have been easy snacks for the parrots. So I gathered up lots of pieces of hessian and pegged them around the edges. They do get sun across the top of them, but it keeps the parrots from having a clear landing spot to be able to snack. Finally, some beans going into the kitchen, and I do remember now why I hadn't grown bush beans in a long time. They are quite fiddly to pick, and one thing I do love about growing beans over an arch is that they are so easy to pick. Not so easy pulling out at the end of the season and clearing the wire, but very easy to pick. I find these brown beauties nice as long as they are picked in a smaller size. Otherwise, I think they're a bit tough. The purple climbing beans aren't too far off being able to pick a whole bunch of beans, although I do love to snack on the smaller ones, and in all that encourages more beans, so that's a good thing. There is another cucumber here that is ready to be picked, so I am going to grab that one. They're not too far off, and I have some Rapunzel tomatoes that I'm going to grab also. Some are riper than the others, but at this point we are happy to have half-ripe tomatoes to snack on. So many ripening up though. And these Dancing with Smurfs, we are busting to try these, wondering how dark these little tomatoes get. And the pink bumblebee is very close, but I am going to leave it here. The volunteer pumpkin has revealed itself, and it is looking very much like a Jack Belittle. I had one planted in exactly this spot last summer, but it is already looking more fruitful than last year. The basil could be easily picked again, and lots of flowers on the rock melons, which is very exciting. They are smaller varieties, and hopefully they will fruit in time. I just keep poking the vines back up towards the wire. The sunrise bumblebee, there are a few ready to be picked, so I'll grab those also. They are very pretty. And the midnight snacks are looking very similar to the Dancing with Smurfs. A couple more sunrise bumblebees this side. More cucumbers to come on the Muncher Burpless. But for now, let's cut into one of these beautiful cucumbers and I'll show you how they look inside. There is a thin green skin. They are very crunchy and fresh, and the seeds are non-existent on the inside. At this size, they are absolutely delicious. I think they're good, even though we were keen to eat them and probably any cucumbers would taste good. These are still very, very good. Definitely will be growing these next spring, summer, but in a different way, probably a bigger trellis. But look at these beautiful, beautiful cucumbers. The inside of them, very nice to cut into. Good, thin green skin. Now let's cut into these Rapunzel and Sunrise bumblebees. And a little basil just on the side. Let's see what Hunter thinks. He is already a fan of the cucumbers, so yeah, any tomato he's a fan of. I'm having to remember which hand I'm feeding him with and the one that I'm snacking from. We are having spaghetti tonight, so I may as well pick a whole handful of basil to go in the pot. It is so nice to have plenty of this to be able to indulge the spaghetti sauce with.